This is a Fernandes Sustainer guitar. It belongs to a friend of mine. So why have I got it? Well, if we move down to the bottom of the body here and come in a little closer, we can see, oh dear, the switch has lost its toggle. So he's asked me to repair it for him, basically put a new switch in. So in this video I'm going to show you how I fitted a new switch to Fernandes Sustainer guitar. Here we are looking at the back of the guitar. Now it's the Sustainer circuit's an active circuit in here, so the first thing to do, because it's an active circuit, it's powered by a 9-volt battery. So we'll remove the battery because we don't want anything shorting out or being powered up when we're taking it to pieces. And we can remove the cover panel. Now a very brief summary of what the Sustainer guitar is there is a circuit under here, which we'll see in a moment, that basically creates a controllable feedback loop with the pickup, such that once the string starts ringing and the pickup is processing the signal, you can control how long that sustains for with, oops, dropping things, the circuit that's in here. So this is the Sustainer circuit. Now it's actually fixed firm, and the reason the Sustainer circuit is fixed firm is because it's held in place by the screws on the nuts on the switches. So we need to undo these, open them off, and then, oops, we can get the spanner on. That's got it moving. Take these off, and we can then lift the circuit board clear of the guitar and have a look at what's going on. If you want to know more about the way the Sustainer and everything works, there's lots of articles on it on the web, so just do a search and you can find those. Right, if I lift this out now, there we go. Lots of things plugged into it. I'll try and not to tug the wires too much, but there are the switches. This is the offending switch, the one that has lost its toggle. So we need to replace that one. Now on the back of the circuit board, the switches are soldered directly onto the circuit board, and there's 9 little pads there behind this switch, and on the side of the switch it says on. That tells me that this is a 3-pole double throw switch. So replacement for it needs to be the same specification. Now, when I first started searching for a replacement for it, the first site I was taken to was an American music shop, and they wanted something just shy of $30 for the switch and another $13 roughly to ship it to the UK. Continuing the search, and I found a place in China that will sell me the same specification of switch for £3.90 with free postage, provided I wait for it to arrive on a container ship. So I told my friend about this, and he went, we'll try the £3.90 and we'll wait for the container ship. Well, the container ship arrived, and I actually have a replacement switch, which, grab it. So here's the replacement switch. It's in the packet, so I'm not sure whether you can actually... Yeah, you can probably just see it there. Got the 9 little legs on the bottom. I'll take it out of the packet. Why am I messing in there? Here we go. That's the switch. With its 9 little legs on the bottom, which will go through the circuit board. And yes, this one does have a toggle that toggles. So, time to heat up the soldering iron, desolder this one, and replace it with this one. Right, so what I have got soldering iron, and I've got solder sucker. That's these things. Basically, you can see this. Push the end in, goes against the spring, press the button, and it sucks the solder off. Now, let's get going. Start melting solder. It was a little bit awkward with the LED in the way. Also, you have to make sure that the end of the solder sucker doesn't, fill up with solder, otherwise it starts redepositing it back on the circuit board. Clean the end of that out. I tend to hold some tweezers down the end of it to clean it out. Problem with the multi-foot one like this is that it can take you quite a while to get all the solder off and get the thing actually loose enough to come out. So I just have to keep working away. Chat amongst yourselves. And there we go. It's the old switch out. So what I need to do now is probably clean up those pads a little bit, and then fit the new switch in. One of the problems with using this style of solder sucker is that it tends to kind of, because it's a sudden jolt as the spring releases, it can flick little bits of solder all over the place. So I've got an old toothbrush, and I'm just going to kind of clean up the area, because I don't want stray bits of solder shorting things out when we come to put the new one in. The pads are actually looking quite clean. So yeah, they're not looking too bad. And now we have our new switch. Turn the circuit over. And does it fit? Yes, it does. But what I'm going to do, actually quite a tight fit in the circuit board to start with. Looking at the other switch, it doesn't have a bottom nut on it either. So what I'm going to do is push it through the guitar and then bolt it up before I solder it in place. Because what I don't want to do is solder it in place only to find that it no longer lines up with the holes. So if we line it up with the holes and bolt it in, that should not be a problem. I'll clean everything up when I've finished. It's getting slightly messy around here. But yeah, so if we kind of bolt this down, okay, that's it bolted in place. So if I now solder those legs in, I know that it will actually line up each time you bolt it and unbolt it, because that's it held in tight, and that's the circuit board on tight. So this should now allow me to solder it in and line it up. So if I solder a couple of corners in, if I'm struggling to reach, I can then unbolt it again. And know that it's held in place. Actually, I can probably get at all of that, so I'll keep going. So that should be the new switch soldered back in place. Put the lid back on. Replace the battery. There we have a toggle switch that works. All we need to do now is go and plug it in and make sure that the circuit's actually working. So let's go and try it in an amp. Well, I did put it back together and I plugged it in and I got some weird humming noises and just kind of sound breaking up. And guess what I've found? The negative terminal on the battery clip has actually broken off. Don't know whether you can see that. There you go, you can see the wire, the black wire dangling there. That's this one. So another bit of repair and then we'll have another go at seeing whether it works or not. Here we are then with hopefully the job completed. So replaced the damaged switch, the sustain on and off switch, replaced the battery connector as we saw earlier, that actually fell apart as well. And then while I was doing all that, a couple of wires broke away from where they were soldered on. I think it's just age, just going a bit brittle, and the fact that I was moving the circuit board around, it just, yeah, they gave in. So I've resoldered those back on, put it all back together, gave it a quick wipe down, and we're ready to go. So what does it actually sound like? I've got it going through Roland Cube amp, but everything on the amp is set to its normal. There's no effects dialed in. All the tone controls are set dead center. So that's it really. I'm taking the output from the amp and going through the mixing desk, just so I can balance it against the microphone. But like I say, there's no effects, so any effect that you hear will be coming from the guitar. So we're starting with the sustain switched off, and we'll see what that sounds like. Strings a bit rattly, I think the action's set very low. Okay, switch the sustain in. So this is just the bottom switch. Play the same again. So, I've turned the sustain on, and yes, it's sustaining. It's definitely sustaining. Okay, we get the idea. Now the other switch here, switch this one in, and see what happens now. Well, we're getting more of a kind of a feedback type sustain coming through on that now, and yeah, it just keeps feeding back and keeps going, and yeah, it keeps going and keeps going, and that's why it's called a sustainer. Okay, shut up. It works. Hopefully my friend's going to be happy with all the repairs I've done on this.